It wouldn't be a V8 Ute race without some panel bashing.
Robin's racing, boys, and they're into it.
There's been plenty of elbows in this one.
There's more action at the back.
In Adelaide at the season opener, the boys were back up to their old tricks.
Contact, sliding, bashing, crashing, it's all happening here.
Oh, that was a car right into the wall. No one was taking a backward step in the battle for points.
Oh, it gives him a hip and shoulder. It's standard Ute racing. Bit of rub, push, shove, slide.
Sounds good, gives Kim Jane a headbutt. But two men emerged as the pace setters. Ryle Harris took 2 race wins as a man with the championship to win. But it was Gary Baxter that sealed the round victory. It's time for the resumption of automotive mayhem. It's round 2 of the Yokohama V8 Utes.
Oh!
So from the streets of Adelaide, we go to a proper racetrack at Winton Motor Raceway. But the question is, will the racing be proper? One man who knows is our own Grant Denyer. Proper Utes, they don't go together, do they?
Nah, these blokes can't even spell it, Aaron. It's been 6 weeks too, you got to remember, since the last round. So that's a lot of time they've been sitting down, rewinding the tape, going, how could I have gone better? Not only that, one of the biggest race cars you have in the country being, you know, the classic Australian Aussie Ute on one of the narrowest circuits. So do the math.
Passing here is always really, really difficult, so qualifying is of particular importance. But this year in the Utes, they're giving championship points for qualifying, so that makes it even more important.
Yeah, they're certainly hungry, and this place has a bit of a nature of being sort of fast and flowing in parts and quite narrow, so you can't really sort of get and capitalise on another bloke's mistake, which means you kind of have to get the old bare knuckles out and get into one another. And when you look at the experience of this category, being Jack Elsgood, obviously very fast in the early stages this weekend, and Chucky Baxter, those two don't hit harder than anyone else, being a black belt and a former rugby league hardman, so bring it on.
And at this meeting, there's just a bit more tension in the air than usual. It's just been confirmed that the Rookie of the Year, as well as the championship winner, will receive a V8 supercar test in a Super Cheap Auto Commodore. West Aussie Paul Williams leads the rookie points after round 1 in Adelaide, but there's still a long season ahead.
The ultimate goal is, to eventually get to the supercar racing. Winning the Rookie of the Year will get us those vital laps at the end of this season of the test, and we'll just progress from there.
Glenn Mcnelly was last year's top rookie, and the man they nickname Evil gets his prize drive next month. But at the moment, he's just concentrating on racing V8 Utes.
Yeah, it was definitely time to step up. Can't claim on the rookie thing for too long, going back to the tracks that I've been to before now, so got to start to perform and start to move forward.
But the man best placed to sample the supercar at the moment is championship leader Gary Baxter. Chucky won at Winton last year, so it's an ominous form guide for his rivals.
Really, to win the championship, it's so much luck involved. Like, I could have won it 3 times already if I just had 1 inch more luck than what I've had. You know, we've just broke a gear stick somewhere and got a flat tyre somewhere else, and it just knocks you right out of the points. But we've been in the top 3 most of the time, every year, and you know, it just needed a fraction more luck that the others have had. But with the reverse grid that we have, it really throws that oddball in there, and you've just got to stay out of trouble. That's the secret.
One man who's put in a monumental effort to be on the grid at Winton is Grove Fruit Juice's pilot Grant Johnson. He took out the Wallbanger prize in Adelaide after this ground-shattering crash. Oh, that's nasty.
The impact, look at it move, that concrete block.
His car was completely totaled at the high-speed Turn 8 incident, and it's left the West Aussie with a few battle scars.
He hit the wall at doing 187k an hour. Scary, really. It's probably the first word that comes to mind. And yeah, really, I was just a passenger. Once I clipped that inside armco, I had about enough time to say, oh, this is going to hurt, and yeah, it did. Destroyed the car and cracked a rib, hurt my elbow when it hit the roll cage, stuff like that. But every day is a new day, and we're getting better all the time.
Well, Grant might like this track a bit better. There's plenty of room off the track at Winton, but not much room on it. Best places to pass? Well, there's quite a few. Turn 1 is a great one, as is Turn 3. Turn 7 up the inside is a brave one, and turns 11 and 12 are also great chances. The first race of the weekend's run just before sundown. Bryony Ingerson has more.
Control starter, they're in your hands.
31 stunning Utes line up for race 1, a 10-lapper at a tight and tenacious Winton. And they're away.
Jack Ellsgood was sitting 5th in the championship heading to Winton and wanted to make the most of his pole position.
Great start from Gary Baxter, but the long way at turn 2. He'll have to slot back in. George Mcnelly right on his tail as they run to turn 3.
And no one's made contact.
Justin Van Twest was forced to retire early.
Anyone for Crab?
Smoke out the back of Craig Dontis's car signalled it was time to head to the pits.
He's going to the drive-through to replace his fluids. You can actually see it coming out the back there. That's diff oil.
The late afternoon sun was shining in the eyes of drivers at turns 1 and 2, making the high-speed corners even hairier.
Great fight back in the pack. Small lock-up here from Greg Willis down at turn 1. This time of the day, it's getting difficult. Peter Burnett.
Oh, he wasn't blinded there. That's pure talent.
Oh, not again. He's gone.
That's what's hard about these Utes. They're hard to pull up at 1,800 kilo.
And Race Sidebottom follows Burnett through the grass.
Up the front, the pressure was growing on the race leader.
The championship leader, Gary Baxter, is closing in on Jack Ellsgood. He has a look at Penrite corner.
It's a sniff, isn't it? But I'll tell you where this is paying off for Jack. He had his first test day in 3 years, purely just to work on his qualifying performance, and this is where it matters right now.
And George Madecki tried his hardest all race to sneak past Gary Baxter for 2nd place.
Look at Madecki all over the back of Baxter at turn 3, really throwing this car out into the dirt
and using too much room. He's trying everything. 2 wheels in the dirt. That is pure commitment. He's giving it everything.
But in the end, it was Ellsgood who led from start to finish.
Fastest man in the race, and Jack Ellsgood is going to put Ford on the board. They break through in 09.
Ellsgood's first win of the year means he'll now have to start from position 16 in the reverse grid race.
Jack Ellsgood clear of Gary Baxter. Andrew Fisher in 4th spot. Giannis Derhams rounded out the top 10, but a critical one. Charlie Kovacs finishes 16th, and that will give him pole for race 2 of the weekend at Winton. All the action from that race is after the break. You're back watching the Yokohama V8 Utes. The drivers getting set for race 2, always the most exciting race of the weekend. And Bryony can tell us why.
There's one thing guaranteed to turn V8 Ute Racing upside down, literally, and that's the reverse grid races.
I guess it all started back in 2001 when the series first started. We actually had a ballot draw for grid positions, and that's where you started race 1. Then race 2 was a reverse of where you started in race 1. So it's always been a part of V8 Ute Racing, which has really mixed it up. And I guess when the category matured, for want of a better word, we wanted to be taken a bit more seriously as a proper feeder category for motorsport. We then went back to not the Chook Lotto ballot draw, as I used to call it, but basically straight qualifying for race 1 grid position, and then a reverse of the top 16 for race 2. Then race 3 is divided on basically your cumulative points positions where you're finishing in race 1 and 2. So that's how it basically works out today.
One thing that reverse grid racing produces is plenty of passing. And this keeps driving standards observer Warren Luff busy, judging what is and isn't allowed on the racetrack. We sat down with Warren and asked him to explain some of the passes from last season.
Well, this is a great example of the racing we want to see. The car on the inside has got track position, he's got the run down the inside, and what we're really looking for is for the overtaking car to be at least up to the B pillar to be able to beat their corner. And in this example here, the car on the outside has also left a sufficient amount of racing room so they could both get through the corner side by side. And instead, there's a little touch from the mirrors moving around, but hey, that's good hard racing. In this situation here, the car on the inside has gone to go for the passing manoeuvre, but really hasn't done a good enough job of getting up the inside. He's made contact with the rear corner of the car in front and has taken this guy out. For it to be an effective passing manoeuvre, as we've spoken of before, the car needs to be up to the B pillar or just behind the driver's door for the car on the inside to be able to really claim it as his corner. Now, in this situation, unfortunately, it's taken the other car out, so as a penalty, we could look at potentially a drive-through penalty equivalent, potentially a monetary fine or even championship points. But unfortunately for the guy that it's taken out, it doesn't give him his race back. He has to unfortunately just wear it and get back on with the race.
Speaking of getting on with the racing, let's do it now. Race 2, the top 16 is inverted. Stand back from the fences.
Oh man, I always look forward to this one. Charlie Kovacs, the icon of the category, one of the original founders, on the front row.
Kim Jane hates this place, not going good, and he got a penalty from race 1.
Oh, for turning Steve Robinson around. So, unfortunately, that's put him back a little bit. Jack Elsgood, how far up can the Maestro climb? He wants to get in front of this championship. He wants to get it back from Baxter.
Ben Cavich is joined by his brother Michael this weekend, and Matt Holt fills in for Warren Millett.
He does, and our thoughts do go out to Warren Millett, who's recovering from a little bit of illness at the moment, so we hope to see him back on the track soon.
Ray Sidebottom rejoins the Ute category this weekend from nearby Numurkah. Craig Dontis and Justin Van Twest to round out the field. Noel Edge lost an engine in practice, so we're down to 30 cars. Charlie Kovacs, the fastest mo in Australian motor racing, will start from pole position. The red light on, when it goes out, we go racing.
And what can Charlie do? It's the drag race to turn 1, and it tightens so much. So many Utes, reverse grid races. It's normally a terrible formula.
Oh, Armour All In car, Gary Carson.
Oh, the Wollongong Performance Select TV gets it on the outside, loses a position.
Did you see that? He cracked open Kim's door. Everyone covers at turn 3.
Oh, 3-1!
Century in car with the champ, Leighton Cram. Got it done. Nice move.
And I tell you what, he's absolutely magic in these reverse grid races, Leighton. He really wants the SS Industries Hard Charger Award.
But out in front, it's last year's Rookie of the Year, Glenn Mcnelly, the young Western Australian. He and Kovacs have skipped clear because the rest of them are doing this.
Andrew Fisher.
That's not very reverential.
It's a long way around the outside. These are tight turns. He could make this work if he can get the run between the next. This is the difference between Ford and Holden. This particular part of the circuit suits the Fords just a little bit, suits their gear ratio.
Paul Williams there, the young West Aussie, driving for Brock Race Engineering. James Brock preparing that car for this season, but everyone now has pretty much sorted themselves out. Century Batteries in car with the champ.
Oh, listen to them, don't they sound fantastic? That's a fantastic run too. And he positions himself on the inside into the second last turn. Clean, executed, done.
2 moves in one straight. He goes by Brad Patton. Mcnelly and Kovacs, 1 and 2. Rob Jarvis having a ripper run.
This is one of the best runs we've seen since he's been in the series by Rob Jarvis. Captain Rob, as they call him, operates a bus line. Some would say that the Utes sometimes handle like a bus when they've had a hit or two, which is pretty common.
He's got a former Ute racer in Adam Brand here cheering him on this weekend. Grant Johnson, Brad Patton, George Mediki, Ben Dunn back in the Storage King car this weekend. Gary Carson, a rookie to the category this year.
Nice and deep there into turn 3, but I have a feeling, yeah, he might be being shadowed, and there it is, the lurking green falcon of Jack Elsgood.
I was going to say, it's just Jack.
He's back. Now, you can really learn a lot from Jack here. Jack knows these cars intimately. He's been in the series for a long time. He should be watching and learn. Look at the understeer.
Look at the mirror too, there's someone there.
Oh, no.
They're there, hang on, there he is, Gary Baxter. Oh, there's a rub here, but this will be okay.
Gary, our round 1 winner. He's quite a conservative driver, only tenacious when he absolutely needs to be. He's a great points collector. Oh, and that's a great sideshow.
Carson gets the left rear up on the curb. Look at Elsgood up in front, he's weaving all over the place.
He's a madman.
And there's another one going around. Andrew Fisher puts a move, so the rookie is getting boxed around at Winton. Yokohama replay, Craig Dontis and Peter Burnett in a bit of a drama at Penrite Corner.
And from on board, you'll see that he didn't quite protect his line enough, and yet didn't leave enough room either to let someone up cleanly. So caught between.
Looking the wrong way, we're looking the right way. More race 2 after the break. Back at Winton with the Yokohama V8 Utes Series. Giannis Derham's here, fighting his way back through in the reverse grid second race. Pacemakers in car, Jack Elsgood, Steve Robinson.
Goodbye. Where was he going?
Wayne Garrett.
I think he's just dropped his left rear wheel off, and that's easy to do in that spot because the track closes in on you. It's a trick that sucks you in. Oh, late dive! And there you go. Good. Leighton Cranbrook, hard charger. Don't know whether you'll get by if that is ever looked at by Warren Luff, but he didn't push him off the track, so perhaps it might work in these rules.
Well, whatever he's doing, he's going to keep doing it.
Look at him go.
These two were 1-2 in the championship last year. They're fighting a bit of a rear guard action at the moment. That door's still slightly loose.
Welcome to No Rules Racing Australia. This is fine stuff. It's an iconic Australian ute. Cars, two makes, but so completely different. A live rear axle versus independent rear axle, different gear ratios, yet they are so close.
And now Ryle Harris is all over the back of Leighton Cranbrook, so one Falcon, bunch of Commodores lined up. I don't like his chances here.
It looks like he's been punched in the face by Jack Elsgood.
Speaking of the devil, there he is. He's closing in on through in this reverse grid race. We always say that patience is a virtue, but no one's showing any of it today.
Are you kidding? That is unreal.
Cranbrook makes the corner, only just, and Harris goes for the switchback. Oh, no, he doesn't.
What? I think there's a fair bit of return of serve going on here between these two. It's starting to get ugly. It's sensational from behind the television, but yeah, I don't think I'd want to be out there.
And it was silly because Grant Johnson just drove past the pair of them.
Well, that's what can happen when you're fighting so tenaciously in a reverse grid race. If you get too caught up playing with one another, the rest of the guys behind you make that run and you lose all your momentum. So you can't waste any time.
Grant Johnson in the Grove Fruit Juices Commodore running a bit of a rip race this weekend to look after his insides after that accident in Adelaide.
Yeah.
He had a few shifter problems in race one, but seems to be going okay now.
From someone who's come out of a reasonable shunt myself, that's really great to see him back so early. It was a big hit. He's probably in a lot of pain right now, so to finish fifth in race one, even though he had some shifter problems, that's close. You can see he climbed up on the curb, dropped a wheel off, had to get out of it, misshifted, and that was the difference.
Now, this is the replay from a little earlier on. Harris going for the switchback move, and Leighton was trying to cover, so Johnson goes straight down the outside.
I think mother is probably a word that's coming out of his mouth right now, because that's fairly dirty play.
Look at this. Switches back, too slow. He's in the gap already and there's contact. Just for something new. But meanwhile, while these guys are doing all that, Glenn Mcnelly is walking away, 2 seconds clear of Charlie Kovacs. Elsgood just closing in on these guys.
Yeah, doing a good job, just up to 10th now, and Johnson in his sights. These guys have had some great title fights over the years. So which hand's going to come out on top?
Pacemaker in car with our race one winner.
Johnson's really just letting the thing hang out in the back. He's dropping a lot of wheels off, and that can just ruin your momentum on a straight. And that's where you've got to maximise it in a Holden, because the Fords are good out of the tight turns. The Holdens have good straight line speed.
And this is a great overtaking opportunity on the run up under brakes, but you really need to get it done early.
Yeah, it's one of those corners that can really suck you in and give you a false illusion that the bloke's leaving room for you, and then all of a sudden the gap closes. So you have to make it stick. Oh, is that Kim Jane? Jack using the curb perfectly. You can see he used the face of it to actually stop the slide, but if you go over the top, you lose all your momentum. So perfect precision driving from Jack. You can see the Holden stretching its legs just a little down the longer straights, but Ford's got good turn. Because it's been around a little longer, they're slightly better developed. The Holdens are catching up, though, in terms of getting the balance right.
Century Batteries in car with Cranbrook, and the balance on this car has got to be shot. He's been hit from every angle.
Yeah, the aero's slightly out, I think.
Have a look in front.
Oh, late dive by Kim. Oh! He's already copped a penalty in race one, and you think that slowed him? Where's he going? That was close to the wall. That was a hairy moment.
Let's have a look again. Yokohama replay. Giannis Derhams gives Kim Jane one back. Out through the dirt. Harris is through. Cranbrook as well. Oh, dear.
That is Utes at its finest. I'll give you one, but expect something back.
Ask, and you shall receive. Kim Jane really close. Lucky not to hit the wall. It's fired up. It's race 2. More in a sec. Welcome back to Winton, Yokohama V8 Utes Race 2. And as you can see from in-car with George Medicki, there's been a little going on since we went away.
It's been a bare-knuckle fight, hasn't it? There you can see race 1 winner ahead now, but on board with Medicki. Is that Kim Jane on the outside, trying to go round for the pass. You have to leave him room, though, because... Oh, no, that's exactly what happens. He's tried to squeeze him to make sure he didn't pass, and in turn taking himself off.
You can't half tell that Kim used to race NASCAR.
Yeah, they're used to running side by side around those ovals, but he's paid the ultimate price.
So George is left to do some dirt tracking. This also happened too. Andrew Fisher and Brad Patton on the run to 1.
Blessed are the grass cutters. Yes, Brad's not the Messiah, just a very naughty boy in that scenario.
Back at the action, Giannis Derhams with Ryle Harris menacing the rear of the 41 car.
There's a lot of damage out there.
How's the realignment of the bonnet?
Oh, there's going to be a lot of hard work between race 2 and race 3 if you manage to survive. Again, the run down to turn 1.
Now, Ryle sees the thermostat in this car in opening practice, so he's doing a bit more here. He's seizing the bonnet, the badge, the grille. He's got just about it all. Oh, now he's gone wide. Oh, look at this. Pacemaker in car. Jacoby up the... Oh, he's get away. He'll be up the inside here, but because he backed out of it and played it safe, he doesn't get a spot, but he doesn't get a crashed car.
But what that's done, it's made him vulnerable to Kim Jane, who again, 2 laps in a row, is trying to go around the outside of someone.
And you see there on the Yokohama replay, he stayed on the inside line and didn't get dispatched.
Yes, exactly right. But Kim Jane a run around Jack Elsgood. Hard to do it on the outside into the sweeper. A big, heavy ute on not much more than a road radial tyre. It's a difficult part of the track to keep just the thing on the tar.
Gary Baxter, Grant Johnson ready to pounce if these two have any form of problems. Mcnelly leads, Kovacs is second, Leighton Cranbrook from 11th on the grid up to 3rd.
Oh, good drive. And here's where there's a lot of pedigree in this category. These 3 drivers here, they're the ones always at the front. They're the ones always producing the action. Who's going to come out on top?
Just saw a quick shot in the background there too. Looked like Andrew Fisher had pulled off the road, and that's George Elliott pulled off the road as well. Replay here on the Yokohama replay. Harris juices it up. Turns it into a drift car for a second.
Jack thought about it, but realised he couldn't pull it off.
So here's the fight for second. Charlie Kovacs. Not long to go in race 2, and Leighton Cranbrook has come from a long way back and has got some real pace.
Big dive under brakes too. You can see he's aggressively chasing Kovacs down, but Kovacs doesn't like to let go of a potential podium finish, that's for sure. He's always been a hard fighter. Not always the fastest, but he's very cunning.
Look at Glenn Mcnelly. His brother Mark races in the Fujitsu V8s. He's 2nd and 3rd. Rob Jarvis is hanging with them. He's in 4th spot, and they haven't really got away from him.
That's a fantastic job by Rob.
Can hear Leighton. Wait, bit of throttle, off the throttle.
Makes a car length just on that turn.
Here we go.
This is a late dive. Can he pull it off?
Beautiful, nice move. Charlie out wide there, it's dirty, and he can't run it back up the inside, but he's going to give it a go, give it a rub as well. Now he's got to give in.
Leighton Cranbrook is driving like a man possessed at the moment. The SS Industries Hard Charger Award is looking pretty good for him right now. He's up to about 7 or 8 cars.
But is the gap to Mcnelly, even beyond him, it's a bit of a gap.
Well, it depends what kind of pressure you can apply and how nervous the guy up front is. Remember, it's only his 2nd year in the Ute Series. He'll be loving this opportunity to be running at the front. It's a fantastic job, but he'll be seeing this big, burly, black beast bearing down on him.
And he's out of time. We've just heard from race control that they're going to call this race 1 lap short. So there goes 3 kilometres of potential passing.
Well, that's perfect for Mcnelly. That means he's going to hang on to take this one out. And it's close for 2nd and 3rd. Brilliant drive by Cranbrook.
Mcnelly wins for the first time in V8 Ute Racing. Cranbrook, superstar drive, 11th into 2nd. And there's not too many cars with straight panels.
9 passes for Cranbrook. And Rob Jarvis, well done too. His best performance. But Mcnelly, 2nd year in the series and looking like a gun.
He said he had to step up, and boy, oh boy, Glenn Mcnelly has stepped up. He takes the win in race 2. Ryle Harris in 6th from Jack Elsgood. Grant Johnson, that brand new car, rounded out the top 10.
Doing it tough too. Let's not forget that Grant has a broken rib, so that's hard work out there. But hard work too for George Medicki, finishing 17th after contact. and set the fastest lap on the way. Let's hear from our race winner.
Yeah, no, it was excellent. First win in the Utes was really good, and got a good start, average start, but it was enough to just get past Charlie on the first corner. Just had to put my head down and go for there, and it seemed to take an eternity, but just had to focus one corner after another and just keep pushing. I actually thought there was 2 laps to go, so when they pulled the checkered flag out, it was a little bit earlier than what I thought, so I was quite relieved when I seen it.
Roll Harris took 2 race wins in Adelaide, but he's had to throw his weight around here to keep in touch.
And we're down a bit on horsepower because we cooked the engine in practice 1. P1 we didn't even go out for because on the grid it overheated, so we just had to sort of make the do with what we had, and I had to do that. You've got to be a bit, as we say, a bit overzealous, but no, I didn't get in trouble, so that's the main thing. The other guys can say what they want, whinge about it, but as long as I'm not in trouble with the steward, that's all that matters to me.
Plenty of repairs going on at Winton, and it's all about race 3. Elsgood and Cranbrook, the front row. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. This weekend in the Yokohama V8 Ute paddock, there's a focus on what's under the bonnet. From now on, all engines will be supplied and built exclusively by Craigstead, a company with a solid background in performance builds with a CV comprising of Carrera Cup and V8 supercar engines.
Well, currently now the Holdens are a 6-litre engine, the Fords are a 5.4. Right now the Holdens make more power than the Fords, and they've adjusted that on the track to keep parity via gear ratios, etc. Part of our project is we need to keep all the Fords within 2% of each other and all the Holdens within 2% of each other. From there, if the board want us to go ahead and vary parity, we might do some testing via air restrictors or RPM, whatever is required to answer the question to keep them more equal.
Also this weekend, the series suspension supplier Quadrant are on hand checking all their control springs and shocks. Each car has had their suspension put on a dyno to ensure setups are right for competition.
What we're basically doing is we're lowering the centre of gravity in the Ute, increasing the spring rate, trying to get the car to handle as flat as it can so the driver gets a good response out of it. The cornering force, say, depending on the tightness of the corner, probably looking at about 4 tonnes. So that's a great amount of load, and our units are handling it quite well.
Okay, deep breath everybody. Race 3, it's the aggregate of races 1 and 2, and that means an all Ford Falcon front row, Jack Elsgood and Leighton Cranbrook to square off.
What a battle that is going to be. We saw how hard Leighton Cranbrook can drive and how much he wants it, but can he take it away?
What about Rob Jarvis starting from position 8? That's got to be a PB.
Just amazing. It is a great performance. George Badicki too. He's going to have to work his way back through after that contact with Kim Jane. He'll be one to watch.
We're missing 2 drivers. Andrew Fisher won't start this race. The Jesus All About Life Falcon with engine problems in the last race, and George Elliott's out as well.
Yeah, Andrew ripped the sump off after that mid-air excursion he had when he went off the track a little earlier. And Kurt Wimmer missing too, unfortunately. He's suffering about a pneumonia. So we told you it was cold at Winton. It's about to heat right up though.
Green flag at the back, race 3 to the side, the second round of the Yokohama V8 Ute Series. Ford's on the front row, Holden's on the second row.
Oh, this is close. There is nothing in it. A slight run in the second gear from the second row. Around the outside. It's good when you're at the front, but if you're in mid-pack, that's when it can be nasty. Cold tyres, cold track. They're going to slide all over the place.
DBA in-car, the Thirsty Camel Falcon. Craig Dotters has had, well, a shocker. He's had to come from the back of the grid more times than in his whole career, and he's got to do it again.
Leaking diff seal earlier on that we saw put him out of the race. 2 wheels off into the dirt. That's going to slow his run down for Baxter. But can he stay on the inside in the sweeper? 2 wide here is scary stuff.
Elsgood leading, Cranbrook second, then Ryle Harris and Grant Johnson. Baxter the long way around on George Badicki. If he can stay there, he's half a chance.
It's the short run to this corner.
Oh, hang on a second. Michael Cavic goes around on the Yokohama replay and takes Peter Burnett with him, in car with Burnett. Big move down the outside. In fact, he's in the middle.
3 wide here. That's what happens when you try and put 3 wide and gets a love tap on the way past for his trouble. So just not enough real estate for 3 cars.
Cranbrook defending down at turn 11. Ryle Harris, pretty racy early on. Look at this, all over the curb and some of the grass as well.
Something must have happened there because Cranbrook was right on the back of Jack Elsgood and threatening to take the lead. But you can see there he's lost a length or two, so maybe an error that Cranbrook is now paying for. Jack in clean territory.
And the pacemaker headers in car showing clear road ahead, but not so much behind.
Yeah, but look at the pressure that's about to be applied like a blowtorch to the back of Jack's car, and that's Leighton Cranbrook. We've seen how hungry he can be in the reverse grid of race 2, but when it really matters for race 3, what's he capable of? We're about to find out.
These guys are capable of anything, you should know that.
They are. And you know what's great about this series? It's very, very professional, a controlled category to the utmost detail, but great to see now that the engine components are now controlled, all going to Craig Haysted, and kept within 2% of each other of horsepower and torque.
That's what they do with the panels as well. That's less than 2%.
Oh, that's a serious little unload there. He's trying to unnerve Jack and hope that he could just get a run on him. Didn't work. Jack's got nerves of steel. A tight line by Jack. Leighton hoping to get a bit of a run out of the turn, but he just won't make a mistake, that Jack.
And whatever Cranbrook does to Elsgood, he has to be careful because Ryle Harris is right there. He's got the bonnet repaired, and, well, we know that he's not afraid to use that car.
But you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't, you know what you mean? You can't just sit there and be complacent by being second. Anyone would be proud to be second, but you don't want to lose it to third.
He who hesitates is usually punted off the road.
He's great under brakes, Cranbrook.
Giannis Derham's having a pretty good run too this weekend. Very, very solid, in fact. Has had a 10th and a 5th, looking to finish things off in race 3. Cranbrook's looking to finish off Elsgood. Sentry batteries in car.
A very, very protective line. Jack was faking him a little bit there, just letting him know there's no way I'm letting you down the inside, but it's given Cranbrook a slightly better run up the hill.
Elsgood just running the inside of turn 3. There's a debris flag in the background there, so whether there's some oil or some water on the race circuit, as if these guys need something to go sideways.
It's Ute racing, it'll be panels on the race circuit, or a door. I've seen a Ute finish a race with only 3 wheels once.
Was it yours?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Let's talk about it. Oh! Are you serious?
Oh, Elsgood's a wake-up because he's parked on the inside, and if he's not careful, Cranbrook will turn this thing into a snowplow.
Oh!
No.
They're clipping wheels now. This is going to turn them both around and could be ugly. If he can stay on the outside, he'll nail the inside.
Well, he nailed the panel.
5 or 6 hits in a row. He's talking with his front bar to Jack.
And Jack's rear bar is not having any of it. And you know what? We're only on lap 3.
Oh, no. You can see it's pushing them back into the pack now. The more that Jack has to try and defend and play that line, it's not working out.
Elsgood leads race 3 at Winton. The boys are not afraid to throw it around. We'll go to the checkered flag after the break. Winton Motor Raceway with the Yokohama V8 Utes, and earlier on we talked about making a clear pass and a clean pass, and that's what Craig Dontis did while we were away, but...
Nearly clean. Clean enough.
4 out of 5's not bad.
Look, as long as it hasn't sort of run him off the track or it's been a deliberate bash to take the position, that's okay.
This is the outside Yokohama replay. Dontis in the gap, and he does a bit of a naughty here. He's trying to squeeze back across for the line into turn 4.
Yeah, wanting a little bit more real estate than probably was available to him, but it hasn't hurt him too much.
And also, Gary Baxter's been on the move. He got a move on Ryle Harris, who just locked up a little bit down into turn 1. So it's action stations in this 3rd and final race. Kim Jane, George Mediki, Steve Robinson, our race 2 winner. Glenn McNelly.
This is
2
good.
by 2. Okay, 4 in. How many come out?
It's like a car park.
Robinson up the inside. Kim Janel hanging around the outside. And got it done. Young Derham's trying to make a move there too.
It's just brought more into the fray though as they start to shuffle and settle themselves around. It's a tough time in this race. You have to lay your authority early to make track position. This is not where you conserve. This is where you push harder.
Conserve, Ute race. They don't go in the same sentence. What are you on about?
I'm taking my ute racing very seriously.
George Badicki fighting back after that contact earlier on. Mcnelly over the curb. Charlie Kovacs has got him under some fire. We're looking at the fight from 7th with Kim Jane right through to Charlie in 11th, who's actually got Brad Patton closing in there. So it's about to become a 6 or maybe a 7-car fight.
And a hero of the category too, Charlie, over 60 years of age and driving like an angry teenager. It's good to see.
Down to turn 10. This is the newer section of this Winton Motor Raceway circuit. Extends it from its old length of 2 kilometres to 3. Just gives more room for these guys to get stuck into it.
This is one of only 2 real straights on this circuit, so the run out of that last corner is very, very important to maximise your lap time. And here is the other secret area. Braking as late as you can, but it's so bumpy there. It's easy to lock a wheel. Dantas thinking about the switchback, but didn't quite get the run between corners. Tries to grab the throttle a little too early, caused some understeer, had to get out of it.
DBA in-car with Craig Dantas getting some encouragement from the crew on the radio.
Again?
Oh, no.
Side by side.
Glenn
3 wide.
Glenn Mcnelly will be the big winner here.
Game
Down the
on.
inside. Here comes Kovacs too. And it's one thing to get past, but you just know that there'll be 5 other lunatics lining up trying to fill the gap.
And down the inside, dropping a wheel off side by side. Is that Kovacs?
Sure is.
You couldn't do wilder moves if you had radio-controlled cars, could you?
Well, probably not, but that's Roll Harris.
Yeah.
And Mcnelly passed him really, really easily, and now they're actually all going to line up and head right on past. So
something going on here for him. I wonder whether this is a repeat of what happened earlier in the week. And remember, he said he had an overheating problem. So maybe being back in the traffic, it's sucking a bit of his power.
Gary Carson with the armour all in car.
That didn't happen.
What was that?
I think that was the sump.
Hope it didn't come back through the engine. Oh, Harrison, big drama.
Yeah.
He's not even trying to block them either, so he's got some form of an issue and he's just trying to get to the checker flag.
That's heartbreaking. He's waving the white flag there, and for a guy who was unstoppable at Clipsal, finishing second to start the championship was a great way, but now he's bleeding.
Century in car, Leighton Cranbrook's second spot, last lap, and that gap looks a bit too much even for the champ.
Floating the car beautifully around the corners, but Jack is just not going to make an error.
Grant Johnson, Gary Baxter, 3rd and 4th place. This is great news for Baxter's championship, but it gets Jack Elsgood back on track.
How good is this for Jack? Wide line, he's run wide!
Gee.
This is allowed Leighton, a late lunge.
Talk about opening up the opportunities.
That's a heart-stopping moment. Good to see Jack up the front, though. He's more serious about his racing than he's ever been. As I said, he's only just had his first test in 3 years. He never tests, they say, his fellow competitors. He's so tight, he doesn't test. He's the only bloke they've seen haggle with a Coke machine. That's how tight he is. So he's spending the money on the car, and it's paying off.
And he's only got 2 corners to go now in this 3rd and final race. The top 4 have streeted the field. Look at that margin. There's no one within sight of Gary Baxter.
And of course, it's all on the line. Everything counts. You can win a drive in a V8 supercar if this season pays off, and Jack is making it count.
Last turn, turn 12. And a little bit of sideways action for good effect.
There he is. And that's what it means to win a race.
Jack Elsgood takes 2 from 3, and that's enough to clinch the round for the Cooper's Pale Ale Falcon. What a weekend of racing.
Amazing by Leighton Cranbrook. 9 cars in race 2 he passed, and that's the difference. Oh, Jack! Oh, no! The show just turned to dough.
Was that a donut attempt, or what was that?
It wasn't, yes, it was dough. It wasn't quite the nut.
Well, let's have a look at the nut. He launches into it and then launches off the road. He's been watching Jamie Wink up at Tassie too much.
Oh, no, that's embarrassing.
Oh, crazy stuff. Race 3, Jack Elsgood the winner. Giannis Sterham's great drive, 6th in race 3. Glenn Mcnelly, that's a real confidence builder for him this weekend. He rounds out race 3 in 8th. Brad Patton, great job from the Queenslander. He ends up in 11th. Justin Van Twest and Nandy Kiss rounded out the top 20. Ryle Harris in 22nd after those problems. But the winner twice this weekend is Jack Elsgood.
Look, the weekend was a great weekend. Went in well prepared, and qualifying on pole really, sort of held me a good step for the whole weekend. The last race was a bit of a tough battle, led from start to finish, but I had Cranbrook peppering me for the first 3 laps. Probably went out with tyre pressures a little bit too low, and the car just didn't come to me. Just had to protect my line for the first couple of laps, and then after that, the car came to me and managed to pull a bit of a gap and stayed there for the rest of the race. Look, I go into every round with the same sort of goal, and that is to win. As far as the overall championship, I've just been told I'm now second in the championship, a point behind Gary Baxter. So, anything can happen the last round, and we've got obviously another 6 in front of us. So, just want to make sure I stay in the top few for the rest of the year and put in a good one for the last round.
Elsgood, the round winner from Leighton, Cranbrook and Gary Baxter. Ryle Harris, tough weekend, 2 race wins in Adelaide. Elsgood has 2 race wins here, and that really changes around the championship points. But for Elsgood, he has vaulted his way. He's second in the championship, just 1 point behind Gary Baxter. Madiki, Jane and Harris round out the top 3, but they're all still chasing the man from Adelaide.
With the reverse grid, you just can't come to a race meeting and expect to win every round. It's just impossible, because with the reverse grid it comes down to, it's a bit of a lucky dip. You've got to get through that kamikaze race, and there's crazy people everywhere. So you just got to get through, keep the car in one piece and finish every race, which is what we did. We didn't qualify too well, which was really disappointing. I had trouble with the front tyres not coming on in time. But we're the fastest Holden. We've been the fastest Holden all weekend. So I guess it is a Ford track, so I'm really happy to have a Holden on the podium.
Leighton Cranbrook second for the round, but he picks up the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award for his drive in race 2.
Yeah, it was excellent. We come from 11th to 2nd, and it was really strong for us, and that sort of set us up for the last race and the round. So yeah, really pleased with reverse grid race, and sort of worked well for us last year, and I think it'll do the same again this year.
Grant Johnson back in the category, and he picks up the Clutch Industries Whole Shot Award for this great start off the line. Nothing wrong with $500 for his weekend of work. And Steve Hodges, the Isri Truck Seats team, they pick up the Armour All Best Presented Award at Winton in round 2. So again, the Yokohama V8 Ute Series boys have turned it on at Winton Motor Raceway, a track synonymous with bash and crash. The next time the series is in action, though, it's at Simmons Plains in Tasmania. The Apple Isle will also host races 7 and 8 in the V8 Supercar Championship Series. Thanks to Grant Denyer for his help today. On behalf of the whole crew, I'm Aaron Noonan.